After an unfamiliar week off, the Hoops are preparing to travel to Fir Park this Saturday, as they take on Motherwell in the Scottish Premiership. In today's video we will discuss the injury boost, whilst also going over the news that the club have a succession plan in place for Joe Hart. But first, make sure you hit that like button, and subscribe to the channel for daily Celtic content. Brendan Rodgers has confirmed an injury boost ahead of Celtic's Saturday trip to Motherwell. The Irishman revealed Liverpool loan man Nat Phillips should be fit and available for selection after getting over the worst of an ankle injury. Nat has only played 45 minutes for Celtic so far since coming in at the end of the window. Ironically, the defender was brought in to help him with Celtic's defensive injury crisis and has found himself in the treatment table. In his absence, Liam Scales and Gustav Lagerbilk have been partnering at the back. It didn't work out too well in Rotterdam for Lagerbilk, who was sent off during the Champions League tie. Whilst it's a boost for the weekend that Nat is back in contention, it's bigger news for the Lazio game. With Gus being suspended for the visit of Lazio, Phillips will be needed at the heart of the defence. He's rejoined the group, we just have to watch with his ankle, but it's much better, Brennan told Celtic TV. When asked if he'll be available for the Lazio game, Rodgers replied, "Hopefully he'll be good for the weekend." Celtic really need to get the points on the board during the game against the Italians to show their own credentials in this group. It's not going to be an easy tie. Before then, Motherwell will present a stern test for the boys. The Steelmen have been one of the informed teams since the beginning of the season. Celtic icon Paul Lambert has been vocal in his admiration for the Hoops midfielder David Turnbull, even as far as going to say that the 24-year-old surpasses him when it comes to finding the back of the net. David Turnbull has been criticised by his own fans quite a lot this season, despite his opening day brace. The drop-off in quality when he starts over Hart is evident, but he still does pose a threat in the attacking third of the pitch. The Japanese midfielder has started over Turnbull since returning from injury, suggesting that Brendan Rodgers now prefers the Postecoglou signing, after dropping him for the first couple of games of the season. However, despite this, Champions League winner Paul Lambert has been full of praise for David Turnbull, and has admitted that he's got one over the former Celtic star. Speaking in the Daily Record, Lambert admitted that he's not a player who can control the tempo of a match, but he's still an attacking threat. "David's a far better goal scorer than I was from the middle of the park. He's got one over me in that respect. I've always thought David has goals in him, and having a goal threat from midfield is always a real asset to any team. He is different from most of the Celtic midfielders in that respect. Callum McGregor and Hart, for example, have very different roles to play, and don't go beyond as much to get on the end of things, but that's Turnbull's game. He can shoot from distance, he can arrive in the box, and he is always looking to get a shot away. So while he's not the type who will spread the ball around and dictate the tempo, he will get you a goal without a doubt." Celtic manager Brendan Rodgers has affirmed that the club have initiated a succession plan for goalkeeper Joe Hart, but emphasised there is no urgency to find a replacement. Joe Hart, the former England #1, has been a pivotal figure for Celtic since his arrival in 2021, contributing significantly to the club's acquisition of 5 out of 6 domestic trophies. It's not only his quality that Celtic have benefited from, but his experience he brings to the team, performing at the top level for club and country. Despite being in his third season with Celtic and approaching the final 6 months of his contract, the 36-year-old remains the undisputed first-choice goalkeeper. Rodgers, who succeeded Ange Postecoglou, has expressed satisfaction with Hart's performances this season, acknowledging his crucial saves despite a red card incident at Livingston and a hiccup against Feyenoord. However, with Hart's future uncertain and his contract nearing its end, Celtic might be exploring options for a new goalkeeper in the upcoming transfer windows. Brendan Rodgers said, "There's a plan in place for not only Joe, but throughout the squad. You always have to plan forward, but currently at this moment, Joe, I thought he was unfortunate to get sent off last weekend. I think what doesn't get highlighted is he made a great save for us at 0-0 before that. Listen, he's at the age he's at. He looks after himself so well. Joe, he's in great physical shape. But naturally, in every position, you're always planning forward. Whether it's a goalkeeper, centre-half or centre-forward, you always have to have an eye on the future." Brendan Rodgers has spoken about Anthony Ralston's new deal, but also addressed Raul Hart's contract and the reports the deal could be imminent for the midfielder. Stephen McGowan broke the story that the Japanese midfielder looks set to follow his compatriots Maeda and Kyogo in signing a new long-term deal with the Scottish champions. With nothing signed yet, Rodgers was obviously coy in talking about it, but did make it clear that the club had been proactive in an attempt to get Raul on board on a new improved deal. "I haven't been made aware of that. I'll speak to Michael later. In fairness to the club have been reaching out to the agent for quite some time," Rodgers told Clyde SSB. Anthony Ralston signed a new 4-year deal this week, with Rodgers reiterating his delight at signing up the defender, commenting that Anthony is a big Celtic fan. Celtic have been on the ball of contract pretensions over the last 3 or 4 months. They're looking to make sure they have their top players tied down. Either they will make a big contribution over the next few years, or the club can ask for top dollar for them if clubs come sniffing around. The Ralph deal looks like it will happen, it's just a matter of when. Celtic signed 2022 J-League Player of the Year, Tamaki Iwata from Yokohama F. Marinos, in January. The 26-year-old signed initially on loan, and the move was made permanent over the summer. Under Brendan Rodgers though, Iwata has found opportunities limited. He has made 2 appearances under the Irishman, but both have come in the last 2 games. Going forward, he is aiming to impress his gaffer and gain more opportunities. Iwata said, "I will try to appeal in training in order to seize the opportunity. By gradually increasing my chances to play in this way, and I can make the coach realise that I am a player who can bring something positive to the team." Very much versatile, Hart is comfortable in the midfield and in defence. Away at Feyenoord he came on as a centre-back, but against Livingston at the weekend he was deployed in the engine room. The player himself believes his strength lies in one-on-one defending. He said, "In the match against Feyenoord, Calvin Stengs, who was below the top of the opponent, was attacking us one-on-one in a fairly narrow space. I want to show that I can stop a player like that. That's my strength and it's my selling point." As well as utilising this attribute in defence, the treble winner can do so in midfield too. If I can pitch in as a midfielder, I feel like I'll be able to match up the opponent's key players more often and have more opportunities to show off. However, my strength is also that I can play a wide range of positions as a midfielder, wing-back and centre-back. With current injuries and suspensions, Iwata is a useful player for Rodgers to have at his disposal. He has made a few cameos in the past few games and hasn't looked out of place. It would be encouraging to see him be given more opportunities in the coming matches, as he is deserving of them. In midfield and defence, Iwata provides quality and possesses more experience than the likes of Odin Thiago Holm and Gustav Lagerbilk. Against Lazio next week, it may well be the 26-year-old who gets the nod at the Hart of defence alongside Liam Scales due to Lagerbilk's suspension. That is unless Cameron Carter-Vickers, Mark Nowacki or Nat Phillips will return to fitness before then. Celtic fans, what we made of Joe Hart's performances this season so far? Let me know down in the comment section below. That brings us to the end of today's video. Make sure you drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content. Remember, we have released our brand new t-shirts with our Brendan Rodgers Pope t-shirt and our Celtic Ultra t-shirts too. You can find them at Celtic Apparel or just go down to the link in the description. Thank you, take care, bye bye.